And finally, everything else. The big hype of this set revolves around Vileplume. Vileplume's body is just like Spiritom's, except that he shuts down all trainers no matter where he is on the field. Without trainers, SP decks suffer tremendously, and cutting down their speed could be key for a metagame shift away from SP to happen. The only problem is that this is a double-edged sword. You cut yourself off from trainers too, meaning you can't run a very trainer-reliant deck. Being a Stage 2 Pokemon, it might be tough to get him out fast enough to cripple SP in time too. There are a ton of deck ideas circulating around Vileplume, including pairing him with the Legends Awakened Blossom, Heart Gold Soul Silver Sunflora for Search, or with Gengar from Stormfront for a powerful Poltergeist attack. I'll definitely delve into some Vileplume analysis next season as variants sprout up, but he's definitely going to see play next season. Another card that I'm really fond of is Weavile. Weavile's Pokepower, Claw Snag, lets you look at your opponent's hand and discard one card the turn you play him down. This is like a better version of Cyrus's Initiative, a staple disruptor in Sableye, because you automatically get to look and you discard instead of bottom decking. With cards like Super Scoop Up for reuse, Broken Time Space, and either Chat.G or Slowking to rearrange your opponent's top decks, you could lock your opponent up very early in the game. On a side note, it's pretty cool to see that the new Sneasel is a direct remake of the Neo Genesis Sneasel, which is one of the 2 cards that were ever banned in Pokemon history for being too powerful at the time. With either a Memory Berry or by his own, Sneasel is at least a decent attacker to use once you've locked your opponent's hand and top decks. Remember when I said I'd come back to an evolution? Well, the plain Umbreon is that card. Umbreon has a very interesting attack, Moonlight Fang, which prevents all effects and damage done in the next turn by Pokemon with Pokebodies or Pokepowers. This works just like the Pokebody that Shedinja had, who saw scarce play. The difference, I think, will be that Shedinja had terrible HP and had a hard-to-use attack, while Umbreon can at least take a hit and deal damage. With an Expert Belt and a Special Darkness Energy, you hit for 60 a turn while preventing a majority of the format's major attackers from touching you. Unfortunately, Machamp, Kingdra, and Jumpluff, to name a few, will still be able to hurt you, but it's an interesting card to look at in the least. Another tech card that's at least worth looking at is the Dodrio. Its Pokebody drops your retreat costs on your active Pokemon by 2. While Dodrio has had this body before, over the years, without seeing much competitive play, decks that used to be reliant on retreating, like Curvescar, are now still able to see some good play. It might not see any play at all, but at least it's worth looking at. One card that I read a lot of hype about online is the Combee from this set. His attack does 80 damage plus poison for 1 energy, as long as you have a damaged Vespiquen on the bench. Instead of using this set's Vespiquen, you'd use the one from Stormfront, which has a great body if you're mounting a comeback, and a decent attack too. There are many problems with this combo that make it more complicated than one would hope though. First, you need a Vespiquen on the bench, and that's 2 cards right there, 3 if you used Broken Time Space to get there. Then, because I'm assuming you didn't just leave Vespiquen active to take a hit, you're going to need a method of adding damage, either Unknown P or a Rainbow Energy. So that's a 4th card. Then, you're going to need Combee and an energy for the attack, so now you're up to 6. Now, just leaving the combo like it is, you're relying on a 30 HP Pokemon to do your attack, which pretty much guarantees a knockout on yourself in the next turn. Some people propose that you evolve your active Pokemon to a Vespiquen also, and then use Memory Berry in order to use Combee's attack and still have HP. But then, you're at 8 cards for the whole combo, which is a little ridiculous. Maybe a straight Vespiquen deck with focus on the Vespiquen over the Combee combo would at least be playable with Sunflora, and then you could use Combee as an optional attacker if the situation arises. If you want to do a lot of damage for 1 energy though, stick to Kingdra. And the last Pokemon I'd like to talk about is the Drifblim from this set. By just looking at him, he seems average, but in an SP deck, he's an amazing counter to Mewtwo. For Mewtwo X to be effective against SP, he needs to be the only Pokemon on the field. If you start setting up Drifblim, your opponent will be forced to drop more basics to stay in the game, giving him more targets to hit and allowing you to stay in the game. His 2 for 60 attack KOs Mewtwo in 1 hit, and his second attack, Takeaway, is really interesting as well. It shuffles Drifblim into the deck, and then your opponent's active Pokemon into theirs. If your opponent has just that one active Pokemon in play, you can win the game just by using Takeaway. You can also use Takeaway to get rid of a problematic active Pokemon of your opponent's, maybe with high HP or a lot of energy on it. All in all, I think Drifblim's a great tech for players to consider space for as the Mewtwo counter. Other than Pokemon, there are two more trainers that are seeing some hype. Energy Exchanger is the equivalent of Pokemon Communication for energy. What this essentially means is a way to search out double colorless energy and other types of special energy as well. In an SP deck, using this card in conjunction with Cyrus's Conspiracy is a guaranteed way to get a double colorless energy for Garchomp C, and it will definitely see some attempted play. The other card seeing hype is Sage's Training, which lets you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose 2, and discard the rest. Personally, I don't see this card making a big impact with all the search and draw we have right now in the format. It's a great deck thinner, and it could help in decks that require discarded energy to work, but I don't feel like it'll make a big impact as long as we have cards like Uxie for big draw. So that's my review on Heart Gold Soul Silver Undaunted. It's not the best set we've ever seen, but there's definitely a lot of playable cards, and it's a decent set. Pre-releases are this weekend and next weekend. It's kinda strange considering that the set releases on August 18th, but oh well. Anyways, this weekend is World Championships 2010. I couldn't make it this year because the price to go to Hawaii is ridiculous, but I'm going to be posting the winning decks and my analysis as fast as possible. Thanks a ton for watching Prof-It. Check back next week for the World's results, and have a nice weekend. Peace! Today's information-filled Prof-It episode was brought to you by Stop2Shop.com, and they've got a special offer for you. If you use the coupon code PROF-IT, all caps, you get 15% off your full order. Stop2Shop.com offers a wide selection of decks, packs, single cards, sleeves, and they offer $1.99 shipping for up to 100 single cards. Be sure to check them out for your Pokemon card needs, and thanks for sponsoring Prof-It.